Hi everyone. So this is the third day of applications of systems, which are the word problems. And we're doing a break-even point. That's the new problem for today. And basically a break-even point in business is the point where you don't make any money, but you don't lose any money. So you've made just enough money to cover your expenses, but you're basically at zero. You don't have an income. Okay? So if you look at this one, it says a puzzle expert wrote a new Sudoku puzzle book. His initial costs are $864. Binding and packaging each book costs 80 cents. The price of the book is $2. How many copies must be sold to break even? So a break-even point problem is always going to be set up in this way. You're always going to be looking for X, which is what you're selling or what service you're providing, right? So in this case, you're selling books. So X is your number of books. Your Y is always going to be how much money you make or how much money, or how much money you are spending, okay? So Y is your number of dollars in income or expenses. So you have two equations. You have one equation that is your expense equation, which is how much you spent, and the other one that is your income equation, how much that you're gaining. So for our expenses, it says his initial costs are $864. This is something he's spending, right? Binding and packaging each book costs 80 cents. He's also spending this because he has to pay that in order to make his book. But the price of the book is $2. Well, that's not something he's spending. That's something he's going to make. He's going to make that money once he sells those books. So the purple are our expenses. Initial costs, which are $864, which is only going to pay one time, and 80 cents, which he's going to pay for every single book. So here's our expense equation. Y equals the money equals how much he's spending equals $864 one time plus 80 cents per book, 0.8x. Now the income, which is $2 per book, how much he's going to make every time he sells a book. So Y equals the amount of money that we're going to gain, $2 per book, 2x. And because break-even point is set up this way, y equals, we can substitute and put the equations equal to each other. So it would be, instead of y equals 864 plus 0.8x, I'm going to plug this 2x in for this y. And now I'm going to have 2x equals 864 plus 0.8x. So now we can solve it. I'm going to get rid of this decimal. So I'm going to move it over on every single one. So now I have 20x equals 8,640 plus 8x. Subtract 8x from here. So 12x equals 8,640. Divide by 12. And we get 720. So he has to sell 720 books to break even. So that would be your sentence. The puzzle expert must sell 720 books to break even. So just to recap, you have an expense equation and an income equation. Expense is how much you're going to sell. Income is how much you're going to gain. And then you're basically going to put them equal to each other and solve. Okay, try this problem. Pause your video. Make sure that you give yourself enough time to work out the problem. Okay, so if you solved this problem, you see your let statements are your number of chairs which you're trying to sell. Y is your income or expenses. You make your equations, put them equal to each other, and I did this by hand just to show you, like, if you have big numbers that you can reduce until you get your number without having to actually plug it into a calculator. And then the carpenter must sell 8 chairs to break even. Okay, look at this problem here. I want you to try to set it up yourself, let statements, equations, and see if you can solve it. It's similar to the ones that we've done before with perimeter. Okay, so we find our length, we're looking for our length and our width. Our first equation, which is the perimeter, is 2L plus 2W equals 100. Our second equation, now we have to attach the amount that we have to pay per length and per width. So since there are 2 lengths, we have to multiply that by 2. There are 2 widths, we have to multiply that by $3, and it's going to equal a total of $250. Okay, so That equals a total of $250. So then I'm going to multiply that out, which is 4L plus 6W equals 250. I'm going to take this and multiply by -2. That gives me negative 4L minus 4W equals negative 200. Bring this equation down. So I can eliminate the L. I get 2W equals 50. So the width is 25, and if I plug it back in, I get 25 for the length also. Okay, so take a look at that one. Make sure that you know how to do those kinds of problems, because I know we struggled with the perimeter problem on the quiz. And that's it for the screencast.